Hi crafty friends, it's Donna here. I've got a video for you today which is looking at using one 12 by 12 paper pad, in this case the Cozy Christmas paper collection, and making a bunch of cards as we've done before, but this time I'm going to use just 4 basic ideas that we can sort of play around with to get a lot of different cards. We're going to be using a kind of simplified way of doing sketches so that rather than having exact measurements and things that we have to follow exactly, we can take a principle and we can make it work for a variety of different paper pads. So the first thing I did was to fussy cut out a lot of the little images, and then within this paper pack there are 2 cut apart sheets, and I've cut those out. This first design uses some sheets that are 3 inches by 4 inches. That's about 7.5 by 10 centimeters. There are 11 different designs in this paper pack, but some of them are a bit more Christmassy than others, and some of them are a little bit less. And so I've chosen which ones I wanted to use, and then for the ones that maybe weren't so suitable, I've flipped them over and used the back, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous light pink diagonal stripe. The principle for all of these cards is to use just a couple of basic shapes, but to mat each of them up with a plain paper, so that even when you put stripes with gingerbread or leaves with stars, that it doesn't end up looking too busy. So this first set of cards has just 2 basic elements: that cut apart section, which is about 3 by 4, and 1 strip that runs vertically down the card. I've cut my strips to be roughly an inch, say 2 or 3 centimeters. It doesn't really matter. Honestly, if you have a paper that you love, make it wider. If you have something that's a great contrast but might be a little bit heavy, make it thinner. It's your cards, enjoy them. Once I've matted both the 3 by 4 panel and the longer strip, it's just a matter of attaching them to the card. However, once I've attached the long strip, I now have an uneven surface. So when I attach the 3 by 4 card, I'm going to just put a little bit of extra paper on the right hand side of it, just to level it back up again. And then for most of these cards, because a lot of the cards that I've chosen here were journaling cards, I've used one of the fussy cut pieces on top as a little bit of a highlight. And I'll show you all the cards that I've made with this design, and you can see which parts of this particular paper pack I've used, but it's such a versatile design. The extra sentiments that I've used to make these cards come from the Crisp Christmas sentiment set, and it's got so many different sets. I think I'll be using it forever. I've already made about 50 cards with it, and there's still plenty left over. This next card design uses the same size panels, those 3 by 4 inch panels, but this time the design is to run 3 horizontal stripes behind the panel, and you can see from the pictures that I've chosen different widths and different heights for those, but it always looks effective no matter how I've laid it out. One of the panels, the Do Not Open Until Christmas panel, had some elements that I'd fussy cut that matched this. And so on top of that panel, I've added 2 extra presents and a cat, just for a little bit of extra dimension and a bit of fun. For these cards, I've also chosen to use one of the patterned papers as my background for the whole card. And I've tried to choose the papers that were the least busy, because there's going to be quite a bit of them showing, and they can overpower the main image if I choose something with too much action. Now here's a look at the set of cards that I made using this design. This paper pad also had a bunch of designs in it that were about 6 centimeters square, or a little bit more than 2 inches square. And so I've chosen a design for that, which has a background paper that covers pretty much all of the whole card, a horizontal band across the card, followed by a large rectangle. I cut mine to be 3 inches by 4 inches, and then the panel. Again, you can play with the sizes of these depending on what size images you have to use on your card. As I've laid each layer down, I've just been careful about the different heights. So after the horizontal strip goes across, I'll make sure to put a little bit of paper either side of my big rectangle. And then when it comes to putting down my square image, the combined height of all the papers so far actually meant that I could prop that up with a single piece of foam tape, and the heights were just about perfect. Finally, I have a design to use up lots of the little bits of paper that were starting to accumulate on my desk, as well as to highlight some of those images that I'd spent all that time fussy cutting. I used Paper Rose's Card Creator 3 die, and first of all I ran the little scraps of paper through it to create a bunch of little rectangles, which I then laid out so that I didn't have too much of the same pattern butting up against itself. Then I used the die to cut out some window panels. And what I've got here is a great big roll of double-sided tape, and that's really convenient for these big jobs. But if you don't have it, you can just run several strips of double-sided tape across the back, or you can even just glue this down to your card and then glue in the panels. I quite like having the double-sided tape there because it makes putting everything in quite quick, and also because I'm a bit messy with glue. Once I've got all of the different panels put in, it's just a matter of laying out all the little fussy cut pieces in an arrangement that I like, adding a sentiment. I put some of my sentiments in the middle and some to the side, and then gluing it all down with foam tape. Some of the fussy cut pieces were bigger than these little squares, but I just let them go over 2 squares, and I think that looks quite good. Once everything was glued down and I was happy with the top of the card, I then flipped it over and did the scary job of peeling off that double-sided tape. I had visions of all of those little rectangles just falling out the back, but it held together beautifully. And it was just a matter of lining it up and placing it on my card. I'll leave you with some pictures of the completed cards. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to press on the thumbs up button, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, press the subscribe button. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, everybody.